What's going on, guys? My name's Chris. You're watching Raising the Bar. Today's topic is being present. Being present is one of the most important skills that you can learn to develop as you go through your life, because it'll allow you to appreciate and take in the current place that you're in, and it'll also put your mind at ease. The reason I say that is because typically there's two sides of the coin. If you're the type of person that lives in the past and you're sitting there thinking about your past experiences, dwelling on them, the mistakes, the hurdles that you failed, or whatever it happens to be, right? You're typically going to be in a depressed state. Now, conversely, if you're a forward-thinking individual and you're too focused on the future, well, guess what? That's going to bring upon anxiety, right? Now, if you could just be present within a particular moment, be it a networking event, a party, a wedding, then you're not going to be thinking about those things. Now, that's a given. I think we could all agree with that. And it's easy to say, but difficult to do, right? So let's break down why we can't be present in these social situations. First and foremost, it begins with your own self-worth and perceived value. When I say self-worth and perceived value, do you consider yourself a high-status individual or a low-status individual? If you walk into a room and you feel high status, and let's say every single person is there for you, it's going to be much easier for you to be present because you feel high status. Conversely, if you identify as a low-status individual and you go into one of these social situations, then you're going to be sitting there worried, thinking, oh, what do they think of me? Am I dressed correctly? Should I do this? Oh no, danger, danger. And your mind gets caught in this loop of negative thinking because you're so tied up and outcome dependent on what those individuals are going to be thinking of you. In order to escape this realm of thinking, the first thing that we have to do is sit down and understand that the way you perceive yourself, first and foremost, is not even close to the rest of the way people are perceiving you. Let's just talk about like a blemish on your face, right? Let's say you're getting ready, you're about to go to a party and you have a pimple on your face or a blemish or something, right? And you're analyzing it in the mirror and you're up super close and looking at it and you're like, oh no, I look terrible. Well, guess what? When was the last time you went up to somebody and like examined their face at a microscopic level? Nobody does that. Nobody does that. Only you are going to notice those things, or small little subtleties with what you're wearing, or how your hair is done, or how you smell. All these little things at the end of the day don't matter, but they matter to you because you assume that other people are perceiving and picking up on these things. But the reality is they're not. They're thinking about themselves. At the end of the day, all people care about is themselves. Nobody really cares about you in these types of situations. They're thinking the exact same thing. They're sitting there worried, how is this person going to perceive me? How am I going to feel in this situation? Well, if you can try to dial it back, take The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, for instance. In that book, it's a whole book dedicated to living in the present. By living in the present in these social situations, or apply it to any aspect of your life, if you can harness the ability to stay present and grounded and not be outcome dependent and also not worry about what other people think of you, well, guess what? It's going to be that much easier to stay present. The best way when you find yourself in these situations is do everything you can to make yourself uncomfortable immediately. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say you're at a party. You're at a party and you're the type of person that's up against the wall, the typical wallflower, right? And you're sitting there just thinking, oh, maybe I should go talk to this person. Oh no, that's a group of people. I can't go talk to a group. Well, guess what? If you immediately act upon that and just immediately just walk up to a random person and just start having a conversation, maybe they'll engage with you, maybe they won't. But guess what? Do it over and over and over again. And ultimately, you'll become desensitized to that fear feeling. Because after doing that 5, 6, 7, 8 times, you're going to realize there is no danger. There is absolutely no danger. But we can get caught in our head and it becomes difficult to stay in the moment because we're thinking too forward. We're thinking about how these people are going to perceive us, how we are acting in this situation. Is it appropriate? Is it not appropriate? It doesn't matter. Consider yourself the high status individual that I know that you are. And when you think of somebody high status, are they concerned about what other people are thinking about them? Maybe they are, but typically they assume that because of their status, that others will gravitate to them. And at a subconscious level, when we project that energy and the fact that we have that confidence, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you say. It matters how you go about saying it. The art of tonality, the body language, the subcommunicative ability that we all have inside of us is what drives the energy that we project. And when you're pushing out positive energy, guess what happens? Other people want to partake in that. They will immediately begin to gravitate to you. It's a remarkable thing. Let's go back to the whole party scenario. If you're the type of person that's bouncing around an entire party, talking to every single person, guess what? All those people that are around you are noticing that, and they just assume, hey, this guy's the man. He's talking to everybody. Whether or not that's true, it doesn't really matter because they don't know you. That's their perception, and you're crafting that perception. So by doing that, you become extremely open, very approachable, and easy to talk to. Something that I struggled with for a long time when I was developing myself was I noticed when I went to these social events, when I went to networking events, parties, things like that, nobody ever spoke to me. Very rarely did anybody ever come up and engage me. And after a while, you can't help but sit down and reflect on why that's happening. I'm sure people out there have experienced the same thing. You're like, why isn't anybody talking to me? Well, guess what? It's your energy. What you're radiating says, hey, leave me be. I'm scared. Don't come near me. Versus if you have open body language, you're conversing with other people, then you'll notice there's a domino effect that takes place, and it becomes that much easier for you to get momentum and get into state. When you get into state, what I'm talking about there is when you are present in the moment, when you can articulate yourself the way that you would be able to if you're sitting on the couch with your best friend because you're very comfortable with who you are, where you are, and what's coming out of your mouth. If you can get into state, then the rest of the night just flows. Time drifts away. You end up having an incredible time. In order to get into state, though, we have to put ourselves out there and become uncomfortable. Embrace the discomfort. Because if you're going to sit there in the back and you're not going to engage anybody, there's opportunities that are going to run right by you because you didn't put yourself out there. Don't let life pass you by and be riddled with fear and driven by fear. Harness that energy and use it in a positive direction. When you're in those situations where you have to be social and you're sitting there, you're thinking about things that happened yesterday or what's going to happen in 5 years, and you're sitting there, you're wrapping your mind around, oh man, do I look good enough? All these things, you're getting so caught up in your head, man. Get out of your head. If you're sitting there in your head, nobody can see the type of person that you are. You can't project who you are because at a subconscious level, the energy that you're projecting is not right. And people pick up on that. Although we communicate with our bodies as well as our mouths, and we speak these things called words, there are auras that we carry. Depending on your posture, depending on the way that you're carrying yourself, all of these things shape the energy that surrounds you. And if you choose to craft that carefully, then guess what? You'll magnetize yourself and draw people in. That's the key here. But in order to stay present, I'm going to say this one more time, you have to embrace being uncomfortable. When you get to one of these events, the first thing you need to do is immediately start talking to the first person that you see. Doesn't matter what you say. Don't get caught up thinking, oh, I need to have the perfect line, or I need to say the most perfect thing. You could literally talk about anything. Talk about this video. Walk up to a person and say, hey man, I was jumping on YouTube earlier. This guy was talking about being present. But have you ever been in a situation where you felt like you were kind of stuck in your head? Somebody's going to be like, what? They're going to be caught off guard because you're going to make them think. But it doesn't matter. If you come at somebody with vibrant and exciting energy, guess what? They're going to respond back the exact same way. Think about that when you go out to one of these events, or maybe it's your day-to-day when you're getting stuck in your head and you're finding it difficult to be present. Do something that makes you uncomfortable. Because I guarantee if you do that, you're going to be that much better off, and it'll become easier for you to get into state and remain present in those situations in the future due to desensitization to those types of environments. Thank you so much for listening to this video, guys. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to write them down below. Please subscribe to this channel. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions for me, you need to get in touch. Feel free to jump on my website, RTBTransformations.com. And with that, I am out of here. Make today great, everybody.